Right guys, it's Faded Clown Ruby and this is Clown Ruby Podcast. It's also going to be a channel update on new projects that we're going to do. Well, some new, some old. Also it's going to be like question time, but also like us talking about old jobs and like old stories that we love. Right. So, what was your first job experience like?
I was actually my first job experience was in a nursery, and I fucking hated it. Like literally, so my mum's mate is the manager of this nursery, and it's literally like a 5-minute walk from in. But in school you had to do job experience, and because I was never at school for one, but two, I was never at school, but when it come to it, the school was hounding my mum with text messages being like, if she doesn't get job experience she's getting kicked out. And so it was kind of last minute, right, I'll just do nursery. I love kids, I've been brought up around kids all the time, my niece Chloe, who's fucking 13 now, all the way to my niece Kyla, who's just turned 2. I've been brought up around kids a lot.
I think that's the thing with most lasses that I know personally. They've always wanted to work with kids, so it's like
that's it. Nowadays it's mainly
heavy
makeup and hair and
it's stuff like that. But when I was in school it was like I went for the weirdest jobs, but I'll explain that after you finish your story. Sorry,
but my first job experience was in a nursery, and the first day I was there, it was fine the first day. I think it was the second day where I was just like, I hate this. Mainly because there was 8 staff in the nursery bit, so it's a bit like early years nursery, where it's babies for the age of 6 months up until 2, and then when they're 2 they go into the early schooling nursery. And the first day I was working with the babies and stuff like that, and then the second time I actually got asked to take this kid called William, he was cute as fuck, to the early years nursery, because that's where he was basically going next. And so he was in this classroom and he was playing away, and I was talking to the teacher and she was asking me how I found it, being in the nursery and being in the building and that, and I was like, I didn't think it's for me, I don't know if I'm going to come back. And at the end of it, so we had about a 2-hour conversation, and at the end she was just like, I hope you do come back, it is a great nursery. And I was like, it's a great nursery, but your staff's full of fucking twats. But my actual first job was, if you're including pay, was a cleaner in a shopping centre, which was again a fucking nightmare experience. But I'll let you tell your first experience first.
So my job experience at school at the time was working at a greyhound centre, and I learned a lot about greyhounds. They're probably one of my favourite breeds of dogs now. Just how they're how they're treated as well. And they had whippets as well, which is bigger than a greyhound, if you didn't know that. It's just a little bit bigger, but they're running dogs. They are trained to hunt and stuff like that. But it was kind of shit, because when I went into the guidance counsellor's office, they're like, right, well, you have no education, your grades are really bad, so what do you want to do? And most of the boys was mechanic or fucking football or stupid shit that I think is ridiculous, it's the norm, if you know what I mean. So with your brother Lewis, it's he's a mechanic, average, just
that's
boring.
My brother
Shit.
Lewis has been literally when I can remember, he has been obsessed with cars. My brother Lewis does an amazing fucking car noise, I tell you that.
Yeah,
Like-
but I'm saying, like, it's the norm to me. If someone was like, oh, what's your brother-in-law do? He's a mechanic. That's it. We're not married, but, like, I did propose to her, so, like, that is one thing. But,
And I said no. Joking.
but, like, that was mine, but it was like, when I was at the centre, like, the two lasses who worked there was only one lass who was real strict, and she was the head of everything, and she would, like, clean out the cages, so I had to shovel shit and piss, but at the same time I was learning, and it was like I had to put down hay and new water bowls, like new food down, like proper bedding for the dogs. They had a comfy life even though they were in cages, but what do you expect? But it's after a while though, like, I turned around to her and said, is it alright if I go on the walks with the dogs? I've got dogs myself, so I had a dog called Brandis who I fucking adored. Like, they're like promising me, like, oh, if you do a good job today, the next half an hour you can take all the dogs out, not at a time, but you know, like separate time. Came round to it and she's like, no, you're too young for it, like, we don't trust you. So I turned around to my fucking guidance teacher at school, because they used to pick me up and take me there. Turned around to her and went, fuck off, I'm not going back. She's being a bitch about it, so fuck off.
That's the thing, like, with my job experience, like, I messaged my mum's mate, and I was just like, listen, the nursery's no for me, like, I didn't think I'm going to come back. And she was like, right, that's fine, if you bring your paperwork in the next day, I'll sign it for you, just to say that you've done a full week.
Ours was 2 weeks.
And, like, I just had the rest of that week off of school. I wasn't going to be the only one in my year at school. Like, everyone else done job experience, but, like,
It was shit.
my job experience, like, it wasn't the kids, except the one wee lassie. She was a fucking wild one. Like, she just wouldn't listen to you. She'd draw over the walls. She'd fucking take the sand. So they had a sand pit that was like a table, and she'd take the sand out the sand pit and throw it at other kids. But, like, it's no that I can't handle that, because, like, fucking hell, I've got 2 nephews and 4 nieces, and they're all fucking nightmares. Like, except Kyle and Chloe, they're alright, but Mia and Macy, they're wild.
Carla is wild and a nightmare, but she's a lovable nightmare. Like, she's one of them.
That's the thing, like, if you were to meet Macy and Mia when they were kids, fucking hell, you'd be wrong for your money.
But,
they two were just, like, because their older brother Owen has ADHD, and he's dyslexic, Mia's dyslexic as well, like, Owen's ADHD and dyslexia just made him a fucking wild one, and then Mia and Macy started to pick up his actions, and now they're just all fucking but it's not that I can't handle it, it's just it wasn't what I expected. Like, I expected to be in a proper school nursery, undercover nursery.
So you've told me about your cleaning job. Do you want to tell the...
Oh, cleaning.
I haven't really told you much about my 2 other jobs, but I'll let you go first.
That's the thing, like, my cleaning job has been my only job and my first ever job. Basically, I was working as a cleaner for about 4 months, for like June till about November time maybe. And what a fucking shit show that shit was. Like, so when I first started, again, it was my mum's mate that gave me the job. She originally asked my brother Stephen if he wanted the job, but he was working as a gardener then. He just died. But Stephen was working as a gardener, and like he originally offered Stephen the job, and because Stephen was working, they asked me if I wanted it. And at the time I was looking for a job anyway, so I said yeah. Got there the first day of the interview, and I filled out paperwork and things like that, and signed a bunch of shit, and then and then she was basically saying when can you start work, and I was like, basically whenever. I'm doing literally fuck all else with my time. And she literally handed me these work trousers that had fucking 2 pockets on the side of your thigh, and then 2 where normal pockets would be.
Sorry everyone.
I know, he just died. And she handed me a blue shirt, and she was like, right, well, get Dean, who was the supervisor at the time, I'll get him to show you about and show you how the ropes kind of work. So he took me about, and he was basically just saying oh, you mop this flare, you do this, that and the other.
So pretty much boring shit.
And then I was working with a lassie called Pauline for my first 2 days. I was with Pauline the whole time. And I was starting for 6 in the morning till 2 p.m. and then I finished, which was good because I had the rest of my day to myself. And me and Pauline were fine, and then it got to the point where there was 4 of us working, so there was Dean, Alistair, Pauline and me on the day shift, and literally 4 people cleaning a fucking huge job centre, the whole flares, all the lifts, all the escalators, all bathrooms, all toilets,
it's basically a mini mall.
Was a lot. And they ended the boss ended up hiring 2 other people, which was Ross and Laura, which I'm still mates with now. And that was all fine. But the bad thing is, Pauline didn't start till 10. So even still, Ross and Laura weren't on the same days. But even still, we were still short on staff.
Yeah.
For it being such a big place. And every single time there was something that needed to be cleaned, so we walked about with walkie-talkies, and we had a brain set of keys in that, and every single time something needed cleaned, I was the one that was getting bawled at. But I was the youngest there, so everyone else was above 25. I was the youngest, and I was just singled out because everyone just assumed I was young and stupid.
Yeah.
But it was bad because Alistair, he was a fucking gobshite. Alistair was a fucking gobshite. He would grass me in for anything and everything. My mates for school would come into the job, into the centre, just to have their lunch or do whatever, and they would see me and they'd say hiya, and we want to be rude and no say hiya back. And Alistair one time saw them walking behind me, and they said hiya to me, and I said hiya back. And Alistair went down the stairs, told the supervisor Dean that I had my pals coming into the workplace, and then Dean had to pull me up about it. And I was like, well, sorry, I can't stop my mates from coming into a public shopping centre. I can't just fucking be like, well, you can't come into my work. That would be like me telling my family they couldn't come at the centre while I'm working there.
Yeah.
But he basically, so Leslie used to pick on me, which was the manager. She used to pick on me a lot. And one time I kicked off at her, and then I said to Dean, I'm not coming in until we get the big boss in, which is above Leslie, to speak to Leslie. I'm not coming in. So they ended up getting the big boss in, but they knew what I was going to say to her, so they made sure that she come in on my day off. So I didn't actually get to ever meet her. But they had a word with Leslie anyway, and then I think it was a week later Leslie got sacked. So Dean then went up to manager, Alistair then went to supervisor, and the rest is just cleaners. And Alistair and Dean, one day I took a day off because I had therapy, which I have to go to, so I had taken a sick day off. But because I'd had multiple 6 days before that, because I was getting like 3 therapy sessions a week, so I had no choice, and they knew that, so they pulled me up one time. Like, I messaged him and I was like, Dean, I need the day off, I've got therapy, you know this. And he was like, well, didn't bother coming in the rest of the week. This was on like Monday, and he was like, didn't bother coming in the rest of the week. I was like, well, I can cover the night if you want. Like, it's literally an hour session. I can literally come in late, or I can cover the night. Because they done like 2 till 10 night shifts. And he was like, no, it's fine, just keep the week off. So I kept the week off, and then on the Monday he asked me to come in for a meeting, and I automatically knew what was going to happen. They were going to sack me anyway, I knew that. So I went into this meeting, fucking Alistair's sitting there with a snarky ass look on his face. Dean's like, we want to have a word with you about the way you work. And I was like, right, fine. And then he was like, you're not allowed to wear your headphones at all at work. And I was like, well, I didn't anyway. I didn't wear them inside the work. I wear them before I come to work. Because my mum drops me off, so I listen to music in the car. And then when I'm like getting my shit ready to start work, that's when I take them off. So he used that as an excuse. He used me on my phone 24/7 as an excuse, which was bullshit. I never ever had my phone on me. It was always in the cleaning cupboard where our bags would stay. And he basically said that, like, there was another excuse he used. Sitting down for too long. I was on my feet 8 hours of a fucking day, and I wasn't allowed a 5-minute break. But they basically sacked me. And then it's funny because then after I got sacked, I found out that Dean got sacked, Alistair got sacked, Pauline got sacked, Ross and Laura got sacked, and basically half of the security at Ocean Terminal got sacked because a different company had bought over Ocean Terminal Cleaning, and that company named the cleaning Ocean Terminal Cleaning. Before it was called Spectrum, now it's called Ocean Terminal Cleaning. And every single one of them got fired straight after me. Literally a week later.
That's alright. Yeah, my 2 jobs. I was 16, had no money to my fucking name. I used to do gardening for my granddad, so I got into gardening. I didn't promote myself like as a great gardener, but I ended up doing gardening. And then when I turned 23, I got a job as a busboy or dishwasher at my mate Jay's club. He owned a club. It was like very fancy. It was a restaurant. It had a restaurant, dance hall, fucking. It was basically a nightclub, but with a restaurant. So I was dish boy. 2 other of my mates joined there. My best mate Matt and my best mate Popper, they joined. I knew them from when I was a kid, so it was like easy to get on. Never really had any problems. Like, that was one of my best jobs. I went from that to part-time DJ. I say part-time because I never actually fully committed myself to it. But that happened when the DJ got found out for stealing money out of the club. So he got fired and sued, and he had to pay Jay back the money. But Jay had no general manager, so I was temporary general manager as well as DJ. And like, it was just funny. I had a lot of good laughs. The night I was leaving, because I quit the job because I was moving. Night I was leaving, we had a after do party, and me and my mate Matt, like, we used to be big on skateboarding. So what happened was we had the bar. So the bar's like a sort of like U, or it's like a U, right? And grabbed our decks. Like, it's been fucking donk since we had an actual skate sesh. So we were grabbing the decks and he was doing like kick flips and stuff, and fucking Matt was on top of the bar and Jay's like, get down off my bar, you bastard. And he's like, fuck you, I'm gonna kick flip off it. Goes to do a fucking kick flip, ends up fucking popping himself in the ass cheek and fucking ball sack with his board going straight up. Like he got dildo fucked by it. It was fucking hilarious, but I loved that job because I got to like, it gave me a chance to like edit my own music at the same time, but it was always common music like Casacada. Like, people will come up and request Casacada, or like old dance music that people are like, that's fucking old. Like, or you get the same song with like Eminem used to get cleaned out of the closet quite a lot, and Mockingbird, I think it is, one is talking to his daughter about, like, that one got requested quite a lot. And then when I moved down to Suffolk, I got a temporary job, wasn't there that long. It was in a music shop where they were selling records and guitars and stuff. And it was like coming to closing time, and I picked one of the guitars off, acoustic guitars off the stand, and I was just prattling about with it. Like, I cannot play a guitar for shit, but I was like prattling about with it. Fucking boss comes in, see me prattling about with it, and he's like, I hope you're paying for that. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay for it once you give me my money, you know. And it's like, well, this is only temporary, so you only get part-time money anyway. So, like, he basically didn't pull me up, but like, he sent me a text and he was like, don't even bother coming in. Because what happened with the guitar was, he tried to say it was that I put finger marks all over it, so like, display purposes, that's not going to look good. And apparently I broke one of the strings, so he had to pay like 30 quid to get a new string in. And it's like, you can buy strings for about 2 quid and put them in yourself. My dad owns guitars, my dad plays guitars, so I should know. And he just tried that, so I got fired from that. And then I became a carer to a guy called Tony, and that was just a fucking nightmare. He was diabetic, so he was diabetic, but he didn't listen to anything I said. So, like, paying bills and getting food shopping, he just wanted shit in his body, so I quit that as well.
That's the thing, technically, if you think about it, I'm technically a carer for my dad, because he had the heart attack. But, like, that's the thing, my dad had a heart attack and he's got diabetes, but he's on like insulin and a bunch of blood thinners and shit like that. But my dad is a very, very stubborn bastard. Like, my dad knows what he wants, and like, if he wants something, he's fucking getting it. And like, if my dad wants to go, ain't no cunt stopping him. Like, no, that we would anyway, because my dad knows the rules. He has to be, like, he has to take his insulin in the morning, at dinner, at tea time, and then once before he goes to bed, and that's it. Like, he knows the rules, and he takes a bunch of medication in the morning before he goes out. He knows the rules, but like, my dad is just very, very stubborn. Like, when he had the heart attack, my mum went to visit him. I think it was the night or the the second day I think he was in hospital, my mum said to him, right, what do you want to eat? She phoned him and she was like, what do you want to eat? This fucking cunt turns around and says a McDonald's. My mum was like, you can fuck off, you've just had a heart attack. But my dad's very, like, has a good sense of humour and doesn't let many things get to him.
That's the thing, like, with your dad, like, we all get along now, like, a lot better. Like, mum's warmed up to me, your dad's warmed up to me, but it's like we've both warmed up to each other. But I'm so used to your dad having a laugh and a joke with me.
That's the thing, literally. I think it was like the first week he got up here, like, my dad and my mum were quite shy, you were quite shy as well, and then my dad, he was in the kitchen making a coffee, and my dad just walked over, farted on him, and was like laughing at him and that, but and then he was like, you just farted.
But that's the thing, like, me and your dad, it was me and your dad who started talking a lot more before I started talking to your mum. But when I got up here the first week, I never came out of the bedroom. And I never made booze. You did. It was after 2 weeks. It's like you were fast asleep and I was like gasping for a breath. I like just woke up and I was like, right, it's all quiet. Everyone's asleep. I'll just sneak in, make a quick brew, and then get back in to the bedroom. And it didn't work like that. You woke up. You came into the kitchen, so I was making brew with you. That's when it went awkward because it was like, oh, she's making brew, not me, if you know what I mean. And then your dad came in.
That's the thing, when he first come up here, Kyla was about 4. No, she wasn't even 1.
6.
She was about 4 or 5 months, and my mum was sitting feeding her, and Owen just walks in. And my mum's just like awkwardly trying to feed Kyla but looking at you, and she's like, oh, hiya.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like that. Your mum was like, hiya. Do you know what?
Yeah, but my mum's a bitch. Like, love her to bits, but she is a fucking cunt.
I love your mum, but like, she has a good laugh with me now. Like,
that's the thing. My mum, like, who can I get off? My mum has a red bitch face.
Everyone keeps now, except from you. I went in as a joke because, like, there's a running joke between me and your mum where, like, I pretend I'm scared of your mum.
Which he is.
No, like, I'm not scared of your mum. I know your mum's a big teddy bear.
Oh, if my mum come running at you, trust me, you'd be fucking gone.
Yeah, I'd be gone, but I'm not scared of her, but it's like, we have this running joke where I turned around, Rocky Balboa or whatever it is.
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. And instead of that, I was like, as a joke, I was like pretending he was moving. I was like, starring Nicky Balboa, you know, stuff like that. And now everyone, like, Mason, Louis even says it now. I turned around and goes, Nicky Balboa. But it's like, I'm the one who said it as a joke. And your mum got it straight away. But then, like, everyone started saying it, so it's like, I can't even. Like, I still call it her, but, like, that's my nickname to your mum. But
that's saying, like, being a part of a big family, you say one joke and fuck me, every cunt's taken.
Yeah. But, like, me and your mum get along, me and your dad get along, and I'm happy with that. Like, there's no problems with twins, like, yeah, like, with the situation that's going on, I haven't really been involved. Because I'm not really part of the family, so it's really not to do with me, but it is, if you know what I mean.
That's the thing, I feel like since you've been here, like, we as a family have been through so fucking much.
Yeah, but it's like
we were all, at the start of this year, we were all like, yes, this has got to be a better one than last year. My fucking dad dies at the start of fucking 2021, my uncle dies, my auntie Kate dies, like, everything's just gone tits up. My dad has a fucking heart attack.
Yeah. And
now the situation we're in right now, like, we just want a quiet life, and it seems to be that, one, death isn't on our fucking side.
It's like, I've been here 2 years, and I get it with, like, Alicia being more accepted into the family, because
She's been literally with Stuart since I was a baby.
Yeah, is that like? Whereas with me, it's like, yeah, your mum and dad have accepted me. Like, me and my mum were having a conversation in the car going down before your birthday, when I went to that job centre, and we were going down in the car, and I was like speaking to your mum, and I was like, you know, it just feels weird, like you all accepting me, because your mum was the one who was like, you need to get ID for my birthday, and I was like, I thought I weren't invited, and she was like, what are you on about? Of course you invited, you daft cunt.
That's saying like,
but then it got into that, and then I was like, well, I'm antisocial, so I'm meeting all your family members
in one,
and your friends. And
but to be quite fair though, like, I'm a bit like that. Like, I just stay in my own corner with the family members that I'm familiar with. So Stuart, Leisha, Chloe,
but I'm
like
saying,
my mum,
like,
Dad, Lewis and Mason. Like, I'm all familiar with them, so that's a group I'll stay
when
in.
we're in the car, because I turned around to her and went, it's strange, I've been here 2 years, right, and like I've only just come to terms to calling it home.
That's the thing, like, you've met quite a few of my family members. You met obviously my mum, Dad, Kyla, Lewis, Mason.
Well, I met your dad first and then your mum.
You met Stuart and Leisha. You've met Chloe. You've met Stephen now. You've met Manty, Wilma and Manty, Izzy.
I don't think I met your Auntie Kate.
No, you didn't meet Manty Kate.
But I'm saying,
but you have met a big proportion of my family.
I said to your mum, did it feel awkward that like... no, I said, did you accept me when I first came? And she was like, no, it was awkward, obviously, because we didn't know you. But like, as long as Cole's alright and she's happy, we're fine with it. And it was like that, and I said the only thing I ever wanted to do was make her happy as well as myself. And like I was saying, your mum, just like, I knew I wanted a future with you. And
that's the thing,
else.
like, I didn't think, because I've been through so much, it's such a, like, I've been through more than an adult has been in their whole life compared to me at like the age of 8. Like, I've been through so much shit, and like, this could be really sad, but I didn't think there's actually been a time where I've been like, wow, I'm actually happy. Like, I've been like, alright.
Well, you said
like,
it to
obviously
me.
I'm happy with you and like my family and stuff, but it's like there's no been one point where I've been like, fucking hell, I am happy.
Yeah.
Like, I've never said that I'm happy, I'm alright.
I mean, not like that, like, you do make me happy, but like, I was thinking about it last night, and this is going to be like, not sloppy. Well, you might call it sloppy. Or
It's sloppy, that indeed.
But like, I was picturing my life without you, and it would be this exact same shit. It'd be, I'd do a few music videos, and I would sit and watch bollocks on TV about like love and stuff like that.
That's the thing, is now that you've mentioned that, actually, I've thought about it a lot, like what life would be like if I didn't have you, and I come to realise that like everything that I've been through in the past 2 years, I would have done on mine if you weren't here. And I feel like for me it's more content to have someone that is still part of the family, but like doesn't know anyone really well enough to like mourn. So like Manny, Kate and that, you never really met them.
That's the thing, because like I had memories of like people in my family having heart attacks. It's a scary experience, because these were people that saw near enough every couple of weeks or
that's the thing, it makes it worse, especially with my dad's heart attack, because we were taking Kyla to the park, and my dad's just come in for his mates, and I look at him and he's holding his chest, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, nothing, I'm fine. My dad being a stubborn cunt. And literally we were like, right, whatever, we left, come back, my dad's fucking like shirtless, sweating buckets, and really short of breath, and my mum's on the phone to the ambulance, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I left 10 minutes ago.
I have to admit, when I was sat out having a fight, it did shed a bit of tears. But
that's the thing, I think my dad is such a likeable character. Like, even my gran got upset, and that's fucking hard because she's a moody bitch.
Same with your mum,
but like me, because of COVID, my mum wasn't allowed in the ambulance with my dad, and she was only allowed to visit for an hour a night, and it was only her that's allowed to visit. So my mum got really upset about that because she didn't want to leave my dad alone in the hospital in an ambulance, but he did take his phone so we could FaceTime him and make sure he was alright. But that day, like, I'd phoned my gran, and I'd let my gran ken that my dad had a heart attack, and she was like fucking Sonic, straight up the road within 5 minutes. And by that point the ambulance crew were still here, or maybe they were still here, they had just taken my dad down the stair, and my mum was in the ambulance with my dad, and my gran come up, I was in here bawling my eyes out, like Kyla was sleeping, and it hurt me the most because Kyla was sleeping and she was so oblivious to the fact that what's going on around her, which, to be quite fair, is a big relief, because if she was old enough it would be scarier, but I feel like she was just so oblivious to the point where it just broke my heart, looking at Kyla sleeping.
Just imagine if it was the situation where I was still down at my old end. Like, there would be nothing I could do. I wouldn't be able to give you a clue.
That's saying though, like, even you being up here, there was nothing you could do. There was nothing any of us could do.
But it's like... Right, so when my granddad died, and we found out, my mum got a phone call off my uncle, Kevin. Or I should say, bald-bad, dick-faced, fucking cum-dunster cunt. And I hope one day he sees this. And he knows how much.
Fuck you, Kevin.
no, it was stupid, but I'll get into that. So I had my mum, and me and my mum being the type of people that, like, when shit goes wrong, we have to stay strong for each other. So me and my mum were the only ones that didn't cry, at all. My mum was like, because my mum went stone white. It was weird because we're having a laugh, like we're just having a drink that night. So we had a bottle of wine. My baby sister's upstairs with her friend, and they're watching something on the TV in the bedroom. Because my mum had 2 bedrooms. Well, one was my bedroom, one was hers, but you know what I mean. Like, they were in the bedroom. And like, mum just gets off the phone and she's like, can you shut up for a minute on? Because we were talking about anime stuff, like what we're going to watch next. Like, we were thinking of watching like Full Metal Alchemist, which I've never seen but my mum saw, so I was asking her about it. And then I was like, what's up? It's like, Granddad's dead. I was like, what? And she's like, Granddad's dead. Well, she said dad, but Granddad to us, obviously. I was like, oh, shit.
That's the thing, like, I feel like, with me, so I lost my granda, like, 13 years ago, and, like, I didn't actually think I cried. But I feel like now it's just so bearable with death now, because it's happened a lot.
Right, we're going for a fast break, guys, so we'll be back and then we'll get on with the story. So, wait. Anyway, yeah. So, my mum went stone white, she told us. So, I ran upstairs and told my baby sister. And then, well, me and my mum told her at the same time, actually. And then I rang my older sister and told her. And then I messaged my brother Nick. But when it came to the funeral, it was like a week before the funeral. So, it was like, we got down to our old neck of the woods, Hebden Bridge. My grandma and my granddad lived in a really nice family area where it had a park across the road. Literally, it was just one road, park. It had a really nice house. It was a 3-bedroomed house, but it was really nice. And we were there to sort out my shit. And this dickhead Kevin, he's not my family, I don't give a fuck. He's a waste of space. So throughout the years, there was one time I stole a bottle of wine off my granddad, and basically I was just like, I just stole it and I drank it. And my granddad told Kevin that, and then ever since then, Kevin's been like, oh, he's a thief, he's this. I learned from my mistake. I never did it again. And he just, like, at the funeral, like, even after the wake, like, came out of the funeral and went to the wake. Well, they have to do. And stood in the pub with all my family. And my auntie's there. And one of my aunties, I can't remember her name, but she's like buying us drinks, and she's like, oh, Owen, how's it been? I'm like, do I know you? But my mum turned around and went, oh, that's your auntie from, you know, the other side. And like, we stood just talking, and my older sister Hale is talking to Kevin, and I walked over to Hale and I was like, Hale was talking about suits, and there was an old suit of my granddad's in his house, and I was going to wear that to the funeral, but I ended up wearing a shirt and jeans with, like, it was a nice shirt. All looked good for me, to be quite fair. And he was like, yeah, right, like, you have no respect. So what happened is, I had the pint in my hand, and I turned around to him and went, get your fucking ass outside and I'll throw this all over your fucking face and smash it off your head, you cunt. And he's like, don't speak to your elders like that. And I went, you're nothing to do with me. For a start, you've had nothing to do with my family.
Who are you?
Nothing to do with my family for fucking years. You don't know me. And he was like, all I know is you're a thief. I was like, what? For one mistake I did when I was a fucking kid and you're still holding it against me? It's not like I've gone out to the fucking bank and robbed someone at gunpoint. And it just royally fucking pissed me off, and my mum was the one who had to drag me out of the pub before I kicked his head in. I was ready for fucking fighting him. And then, as he was stood outside, he was like talking to my mum, like being all friendly with my mum, going, oh, when I passed away, you know, stuff like that, I want a funeral. And I just turned around and went, I'll shit in your coffin, mate. And everyone was like, oh, you can just calm down. I was like, nah, I'm not having some cunt use that against me and then act like he knows everything about our lives. He didn't know what we went through, you know. Yeah, so what, he had money and he put 10 grand in our bank when we were younger, but that was it. That's all he ever did for our family. He didn't give a shit when my mum was in hospital. Like, my mum told him when she was in hospital getting pins in her back. He turns around and goes, oh, just I haven't got enough time to come and see you. Yet he had enough time to still go to Blackpool Pier and go to the fair. And that's when I was fucking 8 when that came about, because my mum was in hospital for 6 months. So we were living with my grandma and my granddad for 6 months, and there's 3 kids living in a cramped house, if you know what I mean. So like me and Nick had to share. Well, actually Nick got downstairs, so he had like a futon downstairs in the living room. I had the smallest bedroom, which was my mum's room, and then Haley had Kevin's room. Actually it was 4 because of Fiona, so they were cramped into that room. And then like the first thing my mum did was she phoned Kevin to see if he could take us, and that's when he was like, no, I haven't got enough time. But he ended up sending photos of him being on the pier and shit like that with his wife. So yeah, that was like the worst experience. Didn't get a chance to go to my grandma's funeral. It was just nobody invited me. No one gave a shit, and I loved my grandma to bits, and I'm sure to death if my grandma was alive then, and we were, say it was my granddad's funeral, she'd be adamant that I came, because I am family. Haley went, Fiona went, fucking Steve went, and he's not even really part of the family. They all went, and I was stuck down in fucking Annick. No way to go to my grandma's funeral or say goodbye. So that was my fucking life of anyone deaf in the family. But I had a lot of fun. Like when my grandma was alive, I used to watch old VHSs and stuff like that. But yeah. You got any old stories?
Not really. My granda was a raging alcoholic. My nana, she was alright. Nah, we used to go to hers and play board games. She used to have fucking shit tons, jigsaws, chess, fucking cards, everything board game wise, like old board games, you name it, she had it. My granda was an alky. He died of alcohol poisoning. My nana died of cancer. My auntie Kate died of cancer. My uncle Brian died of cancer. My dad has a heart attack. My life's a shit show.
I was going to say, we put, I think I've told you this one, we put laxatives in my mate's drink as a prank.
Oh, we did that to my mate.
But we nearly killed him. It was hilarious, but at the same time it was bad because we're having a drink and he was being a pussy. So like we always had like prank wars where it's like we'll trip each other up or we'll kick chairs and make them fall over and stuff like that. And one day like my mate Matt got laxatives with Derek, and it was actually Derek we did it to. They got laxatives, but they got the pill form and liquid form, and we're all having a drink, and he just like got down to like half a can, and like, you know what, fuck him, we're getting him back, because he did something to one of us, but I can't remember what it was. But we put like the full bottle of laxatives in the liquid form, and then put like 6 of the tablets in, because we were like, oh, one won't be enough, that won't be enough, if you know what I mean. And this can was, and he like got hold of his can, and he was like, it smells funny. So he had a taste, and he was like, tastes alright, it tastes like beer still. Because he was asking what we'd done to it, because we were laughing at it. And he was like, what have you done to it? And we're like, no. And he starts drinking it, and he like finishes the whole can. Couldn't taste any of the laxatives. I think it was like a tasteless one. I'm not too sure.
Like a normal laxative then.
Yeah, but we're heading to the bus, and he's like, fuck, I need a shite. And it just came on so quick. I'm like, fuck you, we're not going to the toilet now. So he's there like sat on the bus going, oh, I can't hold it in. Get like 5 minutes on the bus of him just going, oh, I can't hold it in. So he ends up shitting his pants on the bus. Doesn't tell anyone, but you can fucking smell it. And he's there sat on the bus just like holding his pants and shit. And as soon as the bus stopped, he was like, fuck this, jumped off the bus, ran to like the nearest bus you could see, which was like in the centre of a roundabout, and he's having a shit in the bus. And then he thinks it's all over, and he's like, oh thank fuck. I don't know what happened, it must have been the alcohol or something. And we're still laughing at him. And then he goes home, and he was literally sat on the toilet for about 15 hours. And it was bad because he ended up bleeding from his butthole from it. So he ended up going to hospital. Well, it went like 15 hours, but you know what I mean, he was back and forth for like 15 hours. Couldn't sleep. So he ended up going to hospital, and they're like, how much laxatives have you took? Because you've literally overdosed on laxatives. And he's like, I don't think you could, but I don't take laxatives. And then it clicked to him and was like, them little dickheads. So he ends up ringing me and he's like, guess where I am? You cunt. I'm like, at home, asleep, on the toilet, laughing my head off. And he's like, no, I'm in hospital, you prick. You overdosed me on laxatives. And I'm like, shit, are you alright? Like, getting concerned. He was like, you're a prick, I'm gonna get you back for this. But he was laughing about it at the same time, because he was like, that was a good one, because I didn't even taste it or realise you put anything in it. So he was in hospital for that. Came out after like 2 days of them getting it out of his system. He was still shitting in the hospital, but he came out and he didn't get his back. So that was the worst laxative experience I've had with anyone. That's why I don't trust them. But yeah, that was a funny one. I don't know why that came up, but it just came to my head. I forgot about that start.
Somebody's tired. Anyway, let's move on to the channel updates then.
Hey! You were going to tell me that Christmas one.
I'll tell you after we do it. Or...
No, you tell that.
I'll just tell you after we do the update.
Ah, fine, go on then.
You go. You're the one that wanted to do a fucking channel update.
So, the new channel update is when my girlfriend gets the next can of coke. Not cocaine, dirty animals.
It will be cocaine if we fuck over this cunt.
I'm going to put laxatives in it. Alright. We've got a few new projects. Well, I have.
Actually, I don't own laxatives, so get fucked.
Anyway, one of the projects I do want to start doing is more compilations of snooker and funny clips, and also other stuff, maybe a few shooters and stuff like that. And what about you? So,
I used to use this website. I'm gonna try and find the name of it. Hold on. It's called House Planning by Don Gardens. It's basically like a real life house planner, but I use it for speed builds in the sim. So basically what I'm going to do is make Mr. Odwin here make me a floor plan, and I basically have to build it in the sim.
Yeah, but it's not only that, like, because one of the world's got 8 plots of land, it's going to be like every...
That's saying it probably more than 8, but I just can't remember.
Every Friday?
No, Friday's my Willow Creek speed builds.
Yes, you'll be doing speed builds.
No, I told you on a Tuesday.
No.
When have I got a day off? So on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and Saturday and Sunday I'll be bulk recording speed builds, just so like if it didn't feel like uploading the Runaway Teen or something, I'll just upload the speed build to replace it.
So yeah, as for me, my first project for this week is obviously going to be Evil Within and For Honor on a Friday. But there's going to be a few other projects after that. Once I've completed both of them games for the channel, I'll be doing other stuff like more compilations, and it won't just be snooker, there'll be other ones. And I'm also going to get a compilation of me and Ruby together, doing a few stuff together. Well, not a compilation, but a few videos together of our projects and what we want to do together. And the podcast is going to be a little more different because, as Cole was saying, we might not live stream it, we might actually start editing the video.
So what I was thinking is we record a podcast instead of live streaming it, and we edit it so like to fit stuff that we're talking about in that podcast, so it's not just the same boring old picture. And like I'll probably make a new thumbnail for the the videos as well if we do start editing them, but I feel like that'll just make the podcast look and sound a lot better. So
yeah. Also, don't forget to check out both channels. Like all
if
three.
you didn't, I'll fight you.
Especially like Cole's channel, because I love seeing Cole's speed builds. Now I don't bother watching her like challenges, is because I'm only sat up just like 2 meters away from her, so I can hear everything she's saying. But when it comes to like speed builds, I like watching them. Like watching Cole do them because I think she's amazing at them.
Well, my speed builds are gonna get a lot better if I start using this floor planner. So
yeah. So go and check out Nicole Plays 16, and also check out our Faders Clan Ruby, which is both of our channels. And also in the next coming couple of weeks, there might be a few videos on my clown classics. Go and check them out as well in the next couple of weeks. But I'll give a channel update because we're gonna do podcast but channel updates, like not daily but like every week or something on the next projects we're gonna do. So
or just an update on the week.
Yeah.
How recordings have been going. Our Patreon, check out the Patreon.
And also gonna start doing more commentary videos.
I'm gonna actually, I might film a video on my phone later when I'm recording or streaming, whatever I'm fucking doing. I don't actually know, my heat's up my arse, but I'll record a bit of our setups and post them on Patreon because we're ratchet and like I use a HP laptop and he's just got like a telly and a fucking Xbox, but we're ratchet because we're poor. But yeah, like I'll film a bit of our setups.
We're saving up for a new computer so we can do more.
Well, it's another laptop, but it's a better laptop than mine.
To do more game.
That's the thing, if mine didn't have a family graphics card, it'd probably be alright. But it's shit!
But yeah, that's some new projects. I don't know what game I'm doing next for my next project. Might come away from a horror game. Might do a classic game.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I might actually try and fit in the schedule because tomorrow Morrowind should be here hopefully, so
Elder Scrolls
might do that for our channel.
And also for your channel?
Maybe for my channel, but I might just keep mine Sims based and then like hours like upload, like if I'm playing a different game just upload it to hours.
Yeah. But yeah, go and check them out. I do want to buy a steering wheel so me and her can play Forza together.
That's the thing, I'd rather play or buy Forza than get on Game Pass.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Just because Forza on Game Pass sucks.
But that is the end of this stream, I think.
Yeah, man.
We'll keep you posted on what's going on. And do check out our Patreon as well.
As I said, I'll be posting more shit on there. Some
behind the scenes
face stuff as well, maybe. But
behind the scenes sort of like stuff.
yeah, and you'll get a sneak peek into our recording and editing kind of stuff, and probably be the first to know what we're recording.
Aye.
So
So